All right, so hello everyone. Welcome to the Gist Phoenix Show. And today we have a beautiful twist, if I must say, because we're going to have a conversation where we're not just talking only based on fitness experiences, but we'll probably see how we build, will I say, a routine, a lifestyle based routine for my guy here. And just a little introduction before he gives more himself. He is my colleague from work, and we had a conversation. We've had several conversations, but there was one particularly that stuck, and I was like, other people need to hear this, and there are things that you can also learn from. So I was like, okay, let's have it. And I reached out, and he said yes. And I was like, oh, great. So we have him on the G-Stenic show. So welcome, Abdallah. Hope I pronounced the name well.
Yeah, you did, dude. And
Okay.
thank you for having me on the show.
All right, man. So just a brief introduction, the name, and any other information you'd like us to have about you.
So my name is Abdallah, as mentioned before, and as he has mentioned, my relationship with the host here is that we're colleagues and we're good friends. We've
Yep.
struck up a good relationship, and I'm someone who is very interested in fitness, but I have I've gone through different things with regards
Mhm.
to my fitness journey all throughout my years, and it is something that he has shown interest and he feels like people will gain from it. And so that's why I'm here to share with you what I can, and hopefully you guys do gain from what I have to share.
Okay, nice one. Welcome once again. I'm joining my other device so that I can also use it. I want to use it for like a whiteboard where possible. Yeah,
Oh,
so I
okay.
think it's into. So let me silence it so that no sound. All right. So once again, you're welcome. And as you know, this is a fitness channel. So basically, we break down fitness concepts and make it simple to learn, to understand, and most importantly, to apply. Because coming into the whole fitness space, I saw a lot of things being bombarded, and I saw a lot of people doing things, and I was like, this could be done better. So I started going into the whole rabbit hole of fitness unknowingly, just trying to know more about it for myself by even seeing people doing it. And all of a sudden, I got warped in the well into the rabbit hole. And it's been one I enjoyed. And I saw that a lot of people are actually doing things from a point of not really understanding, but just doing what they've been told, which actually makes sense to a point. But the only challenge now is who has told you that thing that you've been told. So that's where there's a problem. Doing what you're told works. I mean, that's the whole idea of coaching, where someone that has been there can actually give you the experience. But when you just do it without growing personally or even getting to understand why over time, that becomes a problem. Most especially if it's the wrong information entirely. So I decided to bring in all these things that I learned and just decided to be putting it out there so that people can also tend to see that it's not as complex as it is. I mean, all the diets, all the exercises, and all the every it can be broken down into just things that you can do in your daily life and enjoy, like I do. So let's get into it. What's been your fitness story like? Or let me ask this better. What's your fitness story?
So I guess the best way to describe how it started is was like I was just I found myself around gym bros, right?
Yeah.
And there was this one guy in particular, and because I was kind of looking at you know his because I met him after he had already made significant progress, and so
Yeah.
sometimes you don't believe what someone started from until you see it. So it's not until I saw some of his pictures that I was like, wait, hold on, this is crazy. Like this guy looks like me, but now look at him. Now look at how much he's grown. And so it kind of, you know, changed my perspective. And I was like, okay, maybe it's possible. And the guy was also very, very encouraging. And so he was like trying to get as many guys as he could get into the gym to join him in the gym life and so on and so forth. And fortunately for him, I was one of the people he was successful with. He was able to get me to join the gym, and it's something that I kind of got into. Yes, I was inspired, but I did not fully believe, you know what I mean? Like I could make
Yeah.
the kind of progress he made. Yeah, I didn't fully believe it, but as I joined, and because of, it was just a group of guys and they made the gym fun, right? They didn't make it too, like, I said, it wasn't like too serious of an environment. Even though we got work done, but as you're working out, you're cracking jokes, you're sharing stories. So that environment that they made was what made me keep coming. I was like, you know what? Just, for the banks, let's just do this. We'll come here, do the workouts. And then slowly and slowly, I started to see progress. First, I saw progress with some of the guys we're going with because some guys who came into the gym at the same time. And then I could see progress with them, and it kind of started to make me slowly believe more and more that this is possible. And so I now started to get a little more serious with it, and then I started to see progress within myself. I was like, oh, this is great. And then I now continued to do it. But then I think around 2 years ago, a bunch of things happened, which, if I'm being honest with them, a lot of them are excuses. If I'm just gonna be Well, I'm gonna be frank. Like there are a few things. Like I felt sick at the time, so that's kind of like a legit thing. But like some of the other things that happened is just kind of excuses. And so it's right now the place that I'm in is I'm trying to like motivate myself to go back since I've kind of like tasted the fruit and I've seen the progress, I've seen the results. So it's not like okay, I'm trying to like get myself back. I'm trying to like kill all the excuses because part of me is still making excuses. So I'm trying to do things to kill those excuses to kind of get back into my fitness journey.
All right, that's a good one. Shout out to the guy that got you into the game. I mean, it all starts from one guy or one lady,
Yeah,
whatever the case, that shows you what's possible, and then all of a sudden you get hooked, especially when you don't get to test it. Like even
exactly.
if you leave, a part of you is still longing for that feeling, especially if you
Yeah,
have gotten good results from it.
yeah.
That's
And I feel
really,
like that's the key part. I feel
yeah,
like that's the key
yeah,
part, the results. Because once you see the results, now it's not a story that someone is telling you out there. It's a thing that
yeah.
you felt for yourself. So yeah,
Mhm. It's a story that you get to tell for yourself. That just came to my mind. So now I want to ask, because that story was quite interesting. So why did you term some of the other things you didn't mention as excuses and not legitimate reasons? Because some people might say, oh, to them those are legitimate reasons on their own. But then in this case now, you said they're excuses. So what's your thought on that? Why do you term them as excuses?
because because I've seen people in like a similar situation still make better efforts than I did.
Mm.
So and I'm trying not to lie to myself because even though it's something that we all do at different stages and different points of
Mhm.
myself, but I'm trying to consciously not lie to myself too much. Like it's sometimes you have to kind of, if you truly want to make progress, you have to tell yourself uncomfortable truths.
Yeah.
And so there's certain things that I feel like, yeah, like it's this is just an excuse that I'm making. Like it's not as legitimate because like falling sick is legit. Like if you're bedridden now, that's legit. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't be doing bench presses on a hospital bed, so
I guess we should try it out to be a nice movement.
yeah.
Yeah.
But other things like, I'm making excuses with like my nutrition and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yes, from one perspective, you could say that that's legit, but from another perspective, it's like if you put the work in, the work itself kind of forces you to work your nutrition out. So it doesn't have to be like one before the other. You don't. And sometimes that's kind of the tricks we play in our head and say, "Nah, I have to get my diet right before I join the gym." And it's like, you could start exercising and then get your diet right. Like it's not, you know, a set in stone kind of thing.
Nice, nicely said. I like how you put that. You said if you put the work in, the work forces you to find a way to do it. And guys, before I continue, I'll say, as we do it, your pen and your book, have them down because there's a lot of things to learn. Already, I've taken this one down. And the way I can rephrase this to is where there's a will, there's a way. Like, simply put, it's something that it's really astonishing because when you get into the game, you're like, especially if you are not well balanced starting out. By well balanced, I mean be financially or even resourcefully or other areas. Basically, you are thinking of so many things that you have to do and so many things that you think you don't have the resources for at the moment. So all of a sudden, you now give that yourself that excuse that it's not time yet till I have this. And one thing I've known is that there's no point where at least starting out where you just have it all immediately till you actually start out, which in answer when you start out, it forces you to basically fill in the blank for the other places. And it's quite nice. It's an interesting concept. So I divide fitness into three pillars. First of all, I'll ask you, what do you think of the three pillars? These are the pillars. I call them the red pillars. Then, but I decided to make it sweet. So I said Dre, like Dr. Dre. So yeah, it's let's use Dre. Diet, recovery, and exercise. What do you think of Dre principle
Diet, recovery, exercise.
and exercise?
Yeah, that's basically the story of fitness. Like if you
Yeah.
that actually you've given me a very good way to summarize it if somebody asks me. It's like
Mhm.
fitness can be simplified into diet, recovery, and exercise. Yeah, that's actually very
Oh. That's catchy. Yeah. So before I go into those principles, you think there's any other thing that might also be primary or it might be secondary? That means it's also helpful, but it's not necessary. That is not captured in those three pillars.
goals. I would say
Go.
goal. Yeah, like so having like because the diet, exercise, recovery
Yeah.
is all like they're all set on what goals you're trying to achieve. So whatever ways you're going to go about all of them, however you're going to decide to diet or decide to exercise, and even how you recover as well, it's all based upon the goals that you're trying to achieve. So I would say so. I'd say that's goals is a good thing to add to that. And nothing else is coming to my head at the moment. If something does, I would say so. But at the moment, it's kind of only goals that's
Go.
coming to my head.
Okay. That's nice. There's a particular reason why I asked that. As far as the conversation we're having, I'm actually writing a fitness book. Yeah.
Ah,
So
okay.
those were like the key aspects to it, which I was able to break it down. Because the idea was to make it good enough where anyone can see it and basically hit their fitness goal by just reading it and apply what's inside. And that's a good addition. So goals, I've noted that one. I'll find a way to put it. And I didn't even think of it that way. Though I knew that ideally goal is the first place to start, but I didn't think to state it. Well, thank you for bringing that in. So that will be stated now. Guys, shout out to Abdallah for that. Once you see that in the book, just know courtesy of him. Yeah. And then moving on. So now let's break that concept down part by part. And I always like starting from the end. Then we'll just go like that. So from E, exercising. What's it been for you? Like, what's your exercise story? Like,
Well, exercise. So okay, exercise is a very interesting thing when you have no knowledge of it. Now, the reason why
say
I
that
say
again,
that,
please.
I said exercise is a very interesting thing when you have no knowledge of it.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is when I started to work out, I paused and I said, wait, hold on. Some of these things used to be punishment back in secondary school. This is exactly what they used to punish us. And it's like, wait, hold on. So you're trying to tell me all those times that I got punished and I got angry. So they were basically making me do a workout.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, and it's very strange. And then and the same thing is the fact that some of the things that we do for fun, like for example, sometimes we would try to like jump as high as we can to like hit something that we see on the ceiling or something like that, not knowing that that is a form of workout, a form of
I
exercise.
mean,
Or when like someone dares you to jump over something, like all of these are all different forms of exercise, but you have zero idea or knowledge about how many things you do that are in a way a form of exercise or could be made into an exercise if you like structure it properly.
that particular thing about you said about secondary school punishments, like it's what I thought of severally when I got deep into fitness. I was like, and I'm someone that didn't really like those punishments growing up. Because one thing I've always told about my story, I started out in life as a round guy. So like a round chubby guy. The only in my primary school, the only thing I loved about PHE, I don't know if you did a physical education course,
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
subject here. The only thing I liked about
yeah.
it was the theory part. And that's basically the only part I was really excelling. Yeah, the theory part. So I didn't like I didn't like or I disliked entirely anything regarding physical. And it was really funny. Till now when I just look back, I just laugh. So the whole idea of exercise and all those punishments were like it really got me. I remember there's one that they call agama in my secondary school, but it's basically the
Yeah,
plank. It's basically the plank.
yeah,
Like when I read it, I'm like, is this what I was struggling? And then there's
like
another one. I've forgotten the name, but it's basically V-ups. That's an abs workout where your legs are suspended and your lower back are also suspended. I'm like,
yeah,
and but one thing, looking back now, I got to see that some of the people that really were punished the most, they are some of the fittest people from what I can
yeah.
remember. And it didn't really ring now till now. It just registered in my mind that so one thing I always say, I always joke around is that if I can go back to my secondary school days, I'll basically accept all the punishments and do them with full mind. Because now I willingly punish myself, quote and unquote. And it's quite
Yeah.
interesting when I do it. Especially when I get to see results. So yeah, what's exercise to you? What does exercise mean to you?
That's a very interesting question. I guess exercise. Well, okay. Let me answer that in like two different ways. Let me answer that in like when I first got in versus how I see it now.
Yeah.
So exercise to me was like punishing yourself for like an idea of gains. But now I see it as, especially now that I've had more knowledge on fitness, it's like it's actually stimulating yourself for the best performance, or no, sorry, stimulating your body to activate your physical potential.
Okay.
So that's how I would exercise. I would say exercise is.
Stimulating your body to achieve its best potential, yeah? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an interesting way to put it. So, what, when you were into audio exercising, what was it like? And another way I can ask this question is, what kind of exercises were you into? And then I can also ask, what was your favorite exercise? So you can just answer along those lines. Let's see where we get to.
Yeah, like so it was So it was mainly resistance training that I used to do. So for those who don't know, that means weights. It's just with a lot of weight training. That's the main thing I used to do. And then because I had underestimated like body weight exercises, so things that we typically do, push-ups, pull-ups, stuff like that, just body weight exercise. I kind of underestimated that. And then I also slowly understood the value of that as well. Started getting into that. And something that maybe we'll talk more on later, but something that I was so afraid of at the beginning was cardio exercises. And the reason why was because of I've been skinny my whole life, and I've kind of understood that okay, some people have faster metabolisms than others, and so cardio exercises, I saw it as something that was going to take away my gains. I was like, I already have a fast metabolism, and I'm making these gains. If I do cardio, it's like I'm gonna burn my gains. So I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. So that was something that I was afraid of until I again later understood that no, actually, obviously, if you do it too much, yes, but actually, if you do it like a proper balanced way, it actually helps your body. It helps you with recovery, and it also helps with like sustaining what you've actually gained. So that is kind of like the gist of how the kind of exercises that I've gotten into and how I kind of understand them.
I like I mentioned starting out, you underestimated body weight for exercises, yeah. So what's your take on them now? Now that I'm more into it.
The like I still enjoy doing them. I still enjoy isolated body exercises, and I in fact I think that's kind of like something that I do miss a lot because it's not like because you could do cardio at home, you could do body weight exercise at home, but you can't do resistance training at home. You can if you buy the equipment, but like if you don't buy the equipment, you can't really do it. And I also enjoy the gym environment, so it's something that I do enjoy. I enjoy like how easily you get the sensation of the burning sensation and stuff like, which is something that obviously at the beginning used to be didn't like, but as you get gains, something that you now chase for, you're looking for it, you want to feel the burn, and so these kind of exercises are some of the ones that make you feel that burn as you work out. So I have, I think I would say I have probably an equal appreciation for all of them.
All right. So that's nice. And one thing, I'll say one way we got the name of this channel is through, I don't know if you've noticed, calisthenics. And have you heard of
Yeah,
calisthenics? You've heard of calisthenics?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So to
Recently,
break,
I didn't know about it back then. I didn't know about it back then, but it's more recently that I discovered what calisthenics is.
sorry, I didn't get that.
I said I recently discovered what calisthenics is. It wasn't something that I knew back then.
Okay, yeah. And I'll simplify calisthenics to basically doing wonders with your body. Doing wonders with your body. And it's something I got interested to have interested with. I've told this story on my channel several times where I basically started out with the gym and I fell in love with calisthenics and what it could do. So I became like the best of both worlds. So I decided to utilize both. I'm not pro anyone. My own is just whichever one fits with you. But I've gotten to enjoy calisthenics more. I don't know. Though the gym is actually nice. It's quite nice in itself. Both works for me. I mean, I could do wonders with both. But I've enjoyed calisthenics because there's this difference. Uh, how do I put the words? There's this difference when I go, let's say I go to a gym now and I pull off a move. My favorite move I've said on this channel is L sit pull ups. So instead of just doing the normal pull ups, I'm basically in an L sit position. Maybe I'll show a video sometime or I'll send it to you later on. So it just changes the mood, and especially when other people now try it. Yeah, like it looks simple. People will be like, oh, let me try this on their own. Then they'll not try it, and then it doesn't turn out the way I put it up. And then they're like, this is actually harder than what I thought it was. So those kind of flex with calisthenics and the whole idea of being able to move your body just in more functional ways. And that's even the training style I'm more into now. I'm more into functional training where I'm actually moving my body with respect to things I will actually do. And so that involves using both styles basically. And one thing I'm getting into yoga in a bit because I love that flexibility. Like the flexibility there is really something else. Then when added the calisthenics, I know it's just me a finisher. Trust me, because I'm pro functionality when it comes to the body. So still into fitness, I would say if there's only one workout style you have to use, that's either the gym, calisthenics, yoga, or any other workout style you do. If there's only one you could use moving forward, what will it be and why would you pick that?
Okay, is it like based upon things that I've done, or are you talking like based upon just what I know now, just what I've like been exposed to?
So I didn't get that. I'm coming, let me.
I said,
Rain is falling over here, so can you hear me?
uh,
Rain is falling
yeah,
over here, so it's really messing with the sound. You get this kind of thing.
okay, fair enough, I
Okay, so you're
understand.
asking.
Yeah, I said that. Are you asking me based upon what I've experienced
Yes, yes, yes.
for myself, or just based on what I've now been exposed to?
I'll go for both
Okay,
because your experience formed you to what you were, and it also helped out with the information you started gathering. So all that
yeah.
together, based on now, what would you say?
Even though I've not done much calisthenics, but I also think like calisthenics is something that I'll probably want to get more into, and that might be, I think that might be what I'll choose.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So with now, before I ask, this, exercise basically to me is movement. That's the way I classify it. And the reason why I frame it that way, because it removes complexity in people's mind in terms of thinking that they have to do something major in order to see their goals. They have to do either a nice bench press or leg squats or even body weight workouts or anything. But exercise can basically be anything movement. Now, the difference is just the intensity you add to it, and that's all based on you and also your goals. So, dance can also be exercise, walking can
Mm.
be exercise, singing can be exercise, playing sports, exercise, and many unconventional things that you might not think. Now, let me tell you one thing happened today that really strengthened this conviction of this. I was in church and then I played the keyboard. I played the keyboard. No. So it was an intense session that I really loved. Like I was enjoying myself. But then I have this smartwatch, this tracker that tracks my activity basically. I don't know if you've heard of it. This from Orion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I use it to track my sleep, my workouts, my movement, steps, and all that. So I received a notification that I've hit my calorie burn goals for that day. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So, but within that time, in myself, I felt actually that I've burnt calories over time. And it was nice to note that that in itself was an exercise. I remember how I defined exercise basically movement, movement
Yeah.
of the body. So it must not be one particular mindset that people have that until I do one kind of move, let's say a push up or so, before I actually do any exercise. And that's one thing I got to show in my weight loss program I did late. I have this program where I teach people to lose weight without doing exercise. And one way I
Okay.
thought about that was to eliminate the excuse of exercise. Some people will be like, I don't have time to exercise. My work schedule is heavy. I mean, you might relate from people on work schedule and several other things. Some might be the kids, the wife, and the parents, and so many, let me not say excuses yet. So many stuff like that. So I got to bring in a way and a system where they will learn how to achieve their goals and lose weight comfortably while also not exercising in the conventional meaning as people will think. And it was quite interesting to know that movement is the key. So whichever form of movement you choose will depend on your lifestyle and also your goals. So that way it becomes sustainable. So with regards to that, what would you say has been the movement that really intrigued you that even if you might not have classified with this definition now, it suddenly makes sense as, oh, that's an exercise.
Walking.
Okay.
Walking is the thing that like it just simplifies to movement. Walking is the exercise that is like the most interesting. And one of the reasons why I say that is because there was a time that I walked a very long distance. It was just kind of me testing myself and testing like how quickly I'll get tired. So I walked like a very. The problem is now I'm a little annoyed that I didn't measure it, so I can't even say like how far it was.
I was about to
But it
ask.
was, yeah, that's kind of the annoying thing. So, but like I know that I walked like a significant distance and back, and the next day I could feel it not just in my legs. I could feel it in my core, my lower back, like just places that I didn't expect to feel it. So it's like it was from I'll say from my like below my chest downwards, my entire body responded, calves, my thighs, everything. And so it's like once that is like so walking now then becomes like the most interesting exercise to me. Once if I just simplify it down to movement as to how much you're actually engaging your body when you simply just walk.
The mystery of walking. Like I know
Mm.
one of these days I'll do an in-depth research on it, but it's been one that's been a game changer for a lot. Like one thing I will say, if you don't do any other thing, just walk, you see a big difference in terms of your health and your fitness. Like that's one no-brainer activity that I know that we tend to neglect. And like in my line of work, our line of work, or will I say our line or my line, which of them, where we basically sit in office spaces for long periods of time. Over time, it tends to have effects, negative effects on our body, on our system altogether. It feels so good in the moment. I mean, sitting in a nice office, AC, blaring, and all that. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, there are effects. So, what's your thought on those kind of work environments in terms of? I'm thinking about a full discussion, but you're getting my point so far. Yeah, you're following, yeah.
Yeah. At least I think I
So
do.
in terms of someone trying to get into fitness or someone already on his fitness journey or on his health journey, what would you say with regards to environments like that and how the person can really navigate those kind of scenarios from your own experience?
I would say that uh, those environments are like they are like in a sense what you make of them. So yes, like in an office environment, you're not completely in control of everything you do because your boss can just walk in at any time and sometimes call you to his office to have a discussion, you can have a meeting, and things like that happen. But at the same time, you're not as busy as you could be. You're not always busy. That is one of the realities of this thing. Like once you've been in this environment, you realize that yes, there's certain places that you do get busy, but like you're not always busy. there's always kind of sometimes you get some breathing, smooth breathing space. Just maybe sometimes it could be up to an hour. Sometimes if you're lucky, it could be even more than that. And then so in this environment, those kind of times, and then if you work in some, there's some environments that you even get more because you can have a whole day where you're not really doing much. So this environment, it's kind of like what you make of them, like how you can capitalize in those moments that you have control. So in those moments that you're not under any pressure from any person, any superior, any of your bosses, and you're just doing nothing, you have the ability to kind of choose what you do in those moments, then you can, especially based on how you just defined it and about how like, exercise is movement, you can just use those moments to move. Yeah, so it's whatever kind of like goals you have, you just look at, okay, what kind of movement can I engage in now that can help me towards where I want to get to, what I want to achieve.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So before I get into the next pillar, let me just ask this. Since we're also trying to form up a routine for you in a sense, while also discussing fitness, let me ask this. What was it like in terms of the routine you had working out when you were big on it? You did that? Can you hear me? Did you get
Hello?
that?
You can see or hear me, but like
Okay. So did you get that question? Hmm.
no, kind
Okay. When you were actively exercising, how did you form up your routine, your workout routine? Or what was your routine like if you weren't the one that formed it?
yeah, so my I kept my routine very simple. I just kind of went to the gym, um, and outside of the gym, I didn't do so like I'll do push-ups, right? Like sometimes I'll do push-ups. Sometimes if I'm close to kind of metal that is strong enough to hold my weight, and I do some pull-ups. But I generally didn't do much exercise outside of the gym. And so the way I went about it was that I usually used to go to the gym in the evening. And so at the end of the day, before I go to bed, I go and work out. And then because, and that's another thing, bro, the sleep after a workout is gold. It is gold. I don't know, I don't know that many people that suffer with sleep, but if anybody came to me and told me that they were having struggle with sleeping, that is what I would tell you to do, bro. Work out.
Workout, then sleep.
Yeah, like because your body would tell you, all right, cool, you need to shut down. You need to kind of like, I'm tired type of thing. So that that that's kind of like I don't know if I answered your question, but that's kind of like how my routine was. Like it's typically at the gym. I used to do, like I mentioned, mainly most of the things I did was weight training, and I did it like uh, 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay. What were your goals at that point?
Just to get bigger, honestly. So just to like grow more muscle. Like I said, I've been skinny most of my life. Like
Mm.
I want to have some meat on my bones. So it was just mainly to get bigger and try to and try to be proportional, like have like a balanced proportion to how I got bigger. So sometimes you kind of notice that some people would fall in love with their arms, and so their arms will get big, but the rest of the body is not. And then some people it's the chest, and especially me and my gym bro, like chest workouts was something that used to be abused. Like so many times you go to the gym and then the first thing somebody it even became a running joke. Okay, are we doing chest day? Is it chest day? Is it chest day? Like just people would just enjoy doing the chest workouts. But for me, it was like my goal. If I'm to kind of summarize it, it was just simply to get bigger and have like a proportionate body.
Balance for proposal. Okay, since you mentioned that, I'm tempted to ask, what was your take on leg day?
Like, bro, I don't think I would ever forget the first morning after my first leg day. Because like while doing the leg day, yes, it hurts, it was not easy and but like it was not until the next morning that I really understood. When people talk about leg day, like this and what it is, it was until the next morning that I truly understood why everybody was afraid of leg day and why people tried to avoid leg day. Because I can remember this vividly. I kind of just because my legs were kind of like hurting me. I was like, ah. So I kind of used my abs and swung my seat off the bed so that they would land on the ground. As I pushed myself up, I immediately went back down. Like with it shocked me how fast I just dropped to the floor. I was like, what is going on? I was afraid
Oh,
for yeah, like I was worried. And so since then I was not the biggest fan of leg day. But at the same time I saw some people that had like big upper bodies and tiny legs. So then I was like, bro, as much as I hate leg day, I don't want to look like that. So I might as I might as well just tough it out and just do it.
yeah. So you say basically choosing the lesser evil.
Yeah, yeah.
I call that the Johnny Bravo physique. I don't know if you watch that show.
Johnny, bro, this is the funniest, and that is the best. It is true. Like that is the best representation of people that
Yeah.
don't work out their legs.
Yeah. And till now, it still astonishes me how people enjoy that look. Or part of me is like, I feel they tell themselves a particular lie or they justify it in their head one way or the other. Or maybe some just think they are far gone, so they can't pick back up again. So these are just things I'm trying to justify for them why they do that. Because I knew definitely that whether I like leg day or not, I definitely don't like Johnny Bravo physique. So it's a no-brainer to now hit those legs. And the sweetest part about it is the look with the big legs is beautiful. Like
Like you have to be honest. Like
nothing
it
beats
does look,
that.
yeah,
Mhm.
it
So
looks
yeah,
very good when
let's
your
get
legs are.
when you say something.
I said it looks good when the leg matches the upper body.
Yeah, perfect. Let me just ask this random question now before we move in. It just came in now. So would you prefer to have, or would you be okay with a big lower body and an average size upper body?
I feel like that is better than the opposite.
It's better than the opposite.
Yeah, like
Guess.
it looks better. Like because I've seen them. I like. I mean, in fact, actually, now that I think about it, we used to make fun of people like that in secondary school. We used to call them yam legs because they're just like genetically, and some of them, because a majority of them played football, so their legs were very, developed, and
Big.
their upper body was was pretty much skinny, and then we're like, bro, look at you, just small upper body and yam legs and stuff like that.
Really,
Yeah, but now it's like, bro, those guys are lucky.
like, I mean, what's their secrets? Like, that's what
Yeah,
I don't ask them. Share your source. How did you get this at a young age or so easily in quotes? So, getting on to the next pillar, recovery. And that's because you mentioned sleep while talking about it. The whole, if you don't, if you need a hack in sleeping, just work out. You will
yeah,
shut down basically. So,
yeah.
and sleep is a part of recovery. So I'll leave it to you first. I'll throw it open to you. What is recovery, and do you think is really important? Why?
So yes, the problem is very, very important. And it's to connect it back to one of the things that you mentioned earlier. Recovery is very important, especially if you are seeking functionality, because it's very easy. Like, so one of the things that, like, so I would say, especially if I'm talking about women, about how sometimes when you ask, women to hit the gym, they're all afraid of hitting the gym because they somehow believe that they're all going to become very muscular all of a sudden just from doing a few exercises. And you also make fun of some guys that get so big that sometimes maybe they can't touch their ears or something like that because how big their arms are and stuff like that. So part of what helps you to build a good physique and be functional is the fact that you're not over burdening your body to the point that you're not really functional anymore. Like you're just working and working and working, and you're not allowing your body to actually recover. When you lose functionality, you really be functional, and you open yourself up to the risk of injuries. That's how people can get like very, very bad injuries due to that. So recovery is a very, very important thing. And it's something that I didn't really, I like my own system of recovery was kind of like, well, because like I mentioned, I didn't do much workouts outside of the gym. So in my head, that was kind of like, in a way, a sort of recovery where I'm not overtaxing my body. It's like when I go to the gym, I know I spend like an hour to maybe 2 hours, we're messing around too much with friends. Then after that, no other like serious exercises, serious workouts. So then you allow the body all throughout all those time, and then the sleep that you have as well kind of like recover. So that's kind of like how I look at recovery and why I
Mm.
think it's important.
So let me break down some aspects while also asking, what's your take on all these 8 hours sleep, medical advice, health, and all those stuff?
The so I'll be very honest with you. I'm very conflicted. I don't I don't know if I have like a very stable or strong position with regards to like how many hours of sleep a person needs. I do believe a person needs sleep. That is for sure. I feel like it's something that is very good. Like enough people, even athletes, if you watch sports and stuff like that, some of them do talk about sleep and the amount of sleep, I say sleep, the amount of sleep that they get throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I do believe it, but like with regards to like, okay, is it 8 hours that you're supposed to have, or is it like I am very confident because there's so much information about it. So I don't know what you think, but there's so much information that I don't want to ramble for too long, but I don't know what your position is or what you think about it. If you have like a strong position on it.
Okay. So there's a particular argument that just came in my head now while I asked this question. And before I explain, I'll just say it. It came in sleeping longer versus sleeping better. I think I'll do more research on that and do a video on it. And where this idea, I would say, started from was from a post I saw on Twitter or YouTube. It was on YouTube, a YouTube short. Tony Robbins, where he first started out with, have you ever slept for like 8+ hours and you still felt tired, then have you ever slept like, let's say, 3 4 hours and you felt all energized and stuff, ready to go? I don't know what's your answer on that before I continue.
Um, well, based so before I started this job, I did have like a stable sleep pattern. That's one thing that I did. I trained myself to have a stable sleep pattern because of this idea of the circadian rhythm. I don't know if you're aware of this concept, the circadian rhythm.
What's that?
The circadian rhythm.
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, I get it.
You're familiar? Are you familiar
But
with
explain,
this?
explain further. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so basically, for those who don't know, the circadian rhythm is this idea that scientists propose that the human being has an internal
Clock.
sleeping clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the natural sleep clock that a human being has, and whenever, whenever you're, whenever like you've trained yourself to, or like it's two things. One, based upon your environment and how you grew up, your body gets used to a particular time. And then that is
Yeah.
why, like, sometimes if somebody keeps you, you know, up longer than you typically are used to, even when you sleep afterwards, the next day you feel a little bit off, is because you're now the clock is off because you didn't get the amount of sleep at the time that you're used to. So for me now, the way I train myself was that I typically sleep for around 6 hours in the night. So, and then because as Muslims we wake up and for very early in the morning for prayer time. So typically when I pray, I don't go back to sleep. But then around like from around 11 to like 1, that 2 hour period, 11, 12,
Yeah.
12, 1, that 2 hour period, I start to feel a little sleepy. That's something that I noticed since I've had the 6 hours sleep, and when I wake up very early, I don't go back to sleep. I don't do the morning sleep. So I find that when I sleep for like 30 minutes to an hour, it doesn't have to be an hour, it could just be 30 minutes, but 30 minutes to an hour, around that window, I get energized and I continue my day normal. Like I'm not groggy, I'm not like lazy or anything like that. No, like once I have it, just like it recharges me at that particular midday point. It recharges me, and then I go about the day fully energized up until nighttime. So for me, based on that particular experience, I would say like I understand what they mean by sleeping better. So I feel like understanding how your body works based upon what you do. So since in the night I sleep 6 hours, I always need that, you know, 11 to 1, that window, that particular window. Because sometimes here's the thing.
Yeah.
So that if I don't sleep in that window, I wouldn't feel sleepy. Like once that window passes, I don't feel sleepy anymore, but my body feels off. My body feels off. Like I
Yeah.
feel like, I'm off. But when I have that, like I don't feel off. I just, I go about my day as usual. So yeah, based on that, I would say that I understand that concept of sleeping better,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
believe in
Okay. So that's a really key stuff there. And the way I've gotten to love sleep, and the way I started out basically in my life is, I always tell people my sleep is my superpower. I don't know if you can relate it to that meme. My strength is my superpower, yeah. But basically, my
it.
sleep is my superpower. I've never really had issues sleeping. I think growing up, my issues were waking up actually. So it was a nice twist. But at the end of the day, I started understanding sleep better and I started applying it where I started with this whole 8 hours stuff. So I aim for 7 to 8 hours daily. And I compared it basically with in terms of my performance in the day. And I noticed that days I sleep 8 hours, 7 hours, let's say from between 7 to 8 hours, I feel more energized throughout that day. I have more, like, my body is more active throughout that day. Then the days I sleep, let's say 4 or 5 hours, I'm quite drowsy. I do sometimes I think maybe it's because of my mind, but I also know that the sleep is very important in itself. Then one metric that I used lately in terms of sleep was something I got to notice from when I track my sleep. And there's one thing I talk about, that you can't really know or observe something if you don't track it. So that's why I love this watch here, this smartwatch. You can get this one's from Oraimo, link will be in the description. You can get it from anywhere basically. There's Aura Ring too. The ring, anyone, whichever one, Samsung, Apple, they have theirs, get yours. It helps to track. And there's one particular feature that this has, which I used lately, and I saw that that metric alone determines a lot in terms of my performance the day. It has this light sleep, moderate, moderate sleep, and deep sleep. I think light sleep, normal, and deep sleep. So, but mostly that light and deep sleep. Those are the more different categories. The other one is just like the whole sleep time, and it calculates the whole time. But then it shows me within that period that, oh, these were the moments I had light sleep. That means that I was just slightly asleep. Then there was a moment where I was deep in sleep, and then we have it also shows moments where I woke up within the night. And let's say not necessarily I stood up from my bed, but the fact that I was a bit conscious within that moment. So having those that metric now, I was able to see that the days I had more deep sleep, I felt more energized. That was when this question that came into my mind, and it just correlated where we have this sleeping better versus sleeping longer. Now we advise the sleeping long in terms of the 7 to 8 hours, but then the quality of sleep matters too. The quality of sleep. And one thing is that even if you sleep long, you can still feel terrible if you don't have a good quality sleep. I advise you sleep long, but then there are now things that now made me to think that, okay, I advise people to sleep long based as a coach, but then I also know that you can sleep long in certain times and still not reap the rewards in terms of making you feel better, like making reducing brain fog like a lot, and increasing your performance in your daily activities. But then the thing that now affects your quality of sleep are the things you do before and after you sleep. Like, let's say from an hour before. In fact, it starts from your whole day basically, but let me just distill it down to an hour before up until when you wake up, let's say an hour after thereabout. So, and one obvious one that we probably know of is using your phones or your devices before sleeping, before and after sleeping. That alone reduces the quality of your sleep by a whole lot because of that the stuff they call that blue light.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that blue light affects already messes with your circadian rhythm, as you mentioned earlier. So it's basically showing your body that it's still like deep in the day, or the day is still bright, so to speak. Or and even blue light has its own effects where it tends to give that let's say trigger that dopamine in your head or your mind basically, so you feel almost awake. So even when you've laid down and you've slept, in quote, your body still takes time before it fully actually winds off, because it is trying to, let's say, get rid of the light and then getting yourself to a state where now you're good to go to sleep. And that's why you can have a shorter, deep sleep, even if you had a lengthy sleep. And it now gets to affect your schedule basically. Even same thing with waking up and immediately going on your device, especially your phone, since they're easily accessible. That also the same blue light effect. Some people advise that once you go out, first thing advisable, that early morning sun that we call vitamin D. It's not just good for the skin, it's also good for the eyes and for the brain. Because that's a way of
Yeah.
waking you up naturally, while also giving you the required energy you need to go about it. So it's something quite interesting that I really got to enjoy. Then there's one other, I'll just mention this last one before we go more into sleep. And that would be eating before sleeping. So that basically eating in the night, and one thing I've said is that eating in the night is not the problem. I have a video on that. So eating in the night is not the problem. That's most people will argue with me on this, but I mean my clients can testify. I can testify also. And the people on this channel that have applied that stuff on this video, they can testify to it that eating in the night is not really the problem. The problem is what goes on when you eat or after you eat. So if you're a person that's just eating and then going to bed immediately, trust me, it's gonna mess you up.
Yeah.
It's going to mess you up. And it might not even just be in terms of, let's say, not meeting your goals fitness wise, but it's going to mess up your sleep pattern. It also mess up basically your digestion and all those factors because your body will still be working. Around that night time is when it's supposed to be winding down to sleep. Then there are things that if you know you must eat, then you are someone that will have activities within the time you eat and the time you sleep. So it's not just that you are eating and going to bed, or even for our OGs there, they are eating while lying down or sitting on the bed. So already you're already setting yourself up for, will I say, failure. And there's something interesting I got to note about this. Now, I talk about calories, which we'll get into shortly. And the whole idea of this is that there are days when throughout the day I didn't hit my calorie goals. So I was not like, oh, night time, let me hit the goals. And there are even times I've had a big deficit. We'll get into this shortly. So deficit basically means eating lesser calories than, or let's say burning more calories than I eat. That's in this case. So basically, my calories in the negative, let's put it that way, in the balance. So having that now, there are days that I had still space in my calorie bank, and then I was like, if I eat this night, I'll still have extra space. Some days I might not have space, but I'll still have extra space. But then I just meet my goal on point, and then I know that I'll sleep. Then I found out that those days I woke up feeling terrible. Some of those days, even I had a longer sleep, quote and unquote, but still I didn't feel fulfilled in terms of being rejuvenated, my energy level in the daytime. Because already part of the sleep time, even if I was physically asleep, my body was still working on the background, trying to break down the food before sleep, before basically actually transitioning me fully into sleep. So already all those things now affect where you can now see that you're waking up bloated or you're waking up just feeling heavy or a bit drowsy. So all those factors are quite put together. So there are things that can really set you up for success when it comes to sleep. So it's not just looking at sleeping long, which is necessary, but also sleeping well and sleeping good. And so, for just a tip for those that like eating in the night, or maybe their schedule allows them eating or one makes them eat in the night, so to speak, I can say time it. Let's say from the time you eat, just give yourself like 30 minutes to an hour, and you can also take a stroll. It will help at least that movement is helping you to burn a bit of calories and even helping your body to have more energy to digest the food, so to speak. So we can have that. So that way you can actually enjoy your night eating. Well, once you get to understand it, you find out that it's a lot easier to actually imbibe in your lifestyle when you're not just doing this because you have to, but you're doing this because you actually want to and you understand the idea behind it. It always make me laugh when I see people say, oh, after 6 p.m. I'm not eating again, this, and then their reasons. My problem is not you saying that, my problem is not your reason for saying that. You not hear someone like, oh, my body does not digest food again, or so many other. I'm not like, if only they know. And starting at sometimes I even tell them, I'm like, this is it. But I found out that some people don't actually want to hear it. They don't actually want to
Yeah.
hear the truth. They are okay with their bias. So that was even one thing that made me start this YouTube channel. So I was like, let me actually tell these things to people that like hearing these things and people that want to actually hear them. People that actually want to change their fitness game, their health game, and all those kind of things. That way, they actually appreciate it, and most importantly, they apply it and make their lives better. I mean, it's quite sweet. So, still on the idea of sleep, or will I say the idea, the whole sleep. So recently I target that 7 to 8 hours. And there's one more key thing that I would say. Because some people will be like, we we operate better from lack of sleep. So you know when people were like, oh, we have a cup of coffees, we're just there, see, feel so energetic. And while I'll say that's true. But now see why it's true. They are used to it. Just like it's something we used to do in college, and even sometimes, even in our recent life, we do it where we wait for the deadline before we do something, and we actually do it so well that our brain confirms it that deadline is the game. That's when you have your most inspiration, the best inspiration. But it's the same way it works, where you actually because you are continually doing things on deadline, and then you are gaining confirmations, or your brain is giving you confirmations through your habits that oh, it actually works. So it just continues like that, reinforcing the idea where you now feel that oh, that's the best situation to operate from. But have you ever tried actually doing things on time? I'm just using that example now, doing things on time before the deadline, and you're getting to see how much more you get to achieve in terms of the things you are doing. And doing more of that and seeing the results helps you rewire it. So the same thing with sleep. And I got it's something that I've passed through, so that's why I can really talk about in this way. Because I was basically, when I say, coming from the whole crypto space, trading space, and basically even self-development where I started in, where I'll stay up late nights. You see all these videos that you watch, you be like, oh, you have to stay up late nights, early mornings, grinding back to back, all those kind of things, trying to make ends meet. And it was quite funny because I was quite hooked to it to the extent of like, I can't sleep. Who is sleeping before 12 p.m., 12 a.m.? That's being weak and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I was so reinforced by that. I mean, I achieved so much that I was like, oh, this is the optimal state. Like I can't see myself sleeping. So now it will be like two a.m. Up. Then before you know it, let's say I sleep around that time. I'm waking up 5 a.m. We go again, and my body was just so used to it that when it took me a while to actually force myself. I started with force, but now I've made it better actually by actually making you see the benefits. That way, when you see the benefits, your brain now begins to wire itself in that way that there's actually benefits of you sleeping early or sleeping better, or let's say sleeping longer compared to this. And that brought me about a tweet I saw by Ty Lopez. Yeah, I think that you know Ty Lopez.
Yeah, I'm
Have
aware
you
of
heard of
them.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm aware of
So it was like people are so used to running on empty. That's I'm paraphrasing the tweet. People are so used on running on empty that they believe they can't run any other way. So put it that way.
Yeah.
So they've been so rewarded through all those means. That's why they suddenly feel that's the only way. And when I get to tell people sleep better or sleep longer, they're like, is that how I'll get generational wealth? Or is
Mhm.
this how I'll make mama proud? Or then they'll be like, my activities are not letting me. But at the end of the day, when you prioritize it because you've seen the benefits, like it becomes different. Like I see so many people grumpy around, even let me even say at the office, I see so many people grumpy and I look at their eyes, they're all tired and stuff, and I'm like, that's the reason you're grumpy. Don't blame the work, or don't blame
Honest.
people, human beings being human beings,
Yeah.
and all those kind of things. Just sleep better and you'll see a whole difference in terms of that. So with this last stuff I just talked about, what's your take on it? Are you the one that will be like, oh, I work on nights, late nights, early mornings, or I really thrive on that sleepless situation, or you got to also see both sides? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I've seen both sides because I also started off like that but mine was in uni basically
Mm-hmm.
when that was connected to the deadline thing when you had this 1 week left and you're trying to read how many different topics within just 1 week, and so you're and that's what that was actually how I started drinking coffee because of that, and so it would keep me awake, and then like there's many times where like I didn't sleep all throughout the night. I was studying
Yeah.
till the next morning. I just took a shower and just went to the exam hall without without any sleep. And probably it's like as I've experienced sleeping right, I've also kind of seen how like sleep also helps, especially with my brain. Like once I sleep and I wake up the next morning, when I study that next morning, it's I actually pick things up much quicker than the night before that I was trying to like put in so many things in my head
Wait
for like
on.
so many hours. Yeah, exactly. So I've experienced that part, and I would say like the sleeping longer or sleeping better is the better option for me because as I've slept and I've woken up in that refreshed state, I've been more productive in that state than like when I used to just go sleepless nights.
Mhm. So you're pro sleep. Let's
Yeah,
start for
I'm very
that.
pro sleep.
Fun fact, coffee never really worked for me. I don't know whether I did it wrong, but basically, basically the scenario, when I say the funniest scenario I had with coffee was, I don't know if you did this in college where you go to read overnight in the class.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think
yeah, I
they call
did.
it night class. Yeah, some people say till daybreak and all those stuff. So this is me. I packed my bags up, went to the night class. So I started out with my coffee so that I'll cover the whole curriculum in one night. And then I drank it. Few minutes later, I'm feeling tired, and I slept throughout the night. And I was like, "What?
Ah, it
Like
did not work out the way you expected.
you didn't work out." So coffee has never really worked out for me. Will I put it that way? Yeah. So that's why I said, or maybe I
Maybe you
didn't
are
do it
doing
right. Yeah.
maybe you are doing it wrong because even me at the beginning, coffee didn't
Yeah.
work on me. I was like, bro, this thing is useless. But the way it started to work on me was that uh, I had to drink the coffee before I felt sleepy. So like before
Okay.
the sleep starts to come, I need to drink it so that it can be in my bloodstreams, and then I won't feel sleepy at all, and I'll be awake. But the moment I start to feel sleepy, there is nothing that I will take that will stop that sleep.
Big. Okay.
There is
Then
nothing.
what of
Like
energy drinks?
energy,
What of energy drinks?
energy
What's your
is
take on
the
that?
same thing. The same thing. If the sleep comes, there's no amount of energy
It
drinks that I'll
comes.
take that will away. Like once the sleep is there, it's like, bruh, I'm taking him and there's
Uh,
nothing any of me coffee or energy drinks can do about it.
mm. That energy drinks was another funny experience. Remember the time I took 2 cans of Monster and I still slept. I was like, everyone was looking at me like, how? And I'm like, okay, my sleep is my superpower. Anyhow,
That's
moving on. Another part of recovery is this rest days. And I don't know if you've heard of rest days, yeah?
uh, mm,
Yeah, rest days. What's your take on it? On rest days?
mm. For me, that was what I used to do when I used to go to the gym and do my resistance training. So the whole concept was in fact, I used to also do a rest week as well. And the way I did it was, so I used to work out like I said 4 to 5 times a week, and then so there'll be like 2 days a week that I'm resting, right? But
Yep.
then if I do that for like 6 weeks straight, on the seventh week I won't go to the gym at all. On the seventh week, I would actually not go to the gym and allow my body to rest throughout the week. So that's like my rest week, and then I would repeat the process.
Okay.
So for me, that and it helped me like recover well. I feel like because as you know, like once you work out, sure, depending on the body, everybody has different bodies. But for me, if I do a proper workout, my muscles, I will still feel them for like up to 3 days consecutively. And it's like on the fourth day, it's maybe that I may not feel it anymore. And so, but by the time the fourth day arrives, I've already worked
Yeah.
out probably that muscle group again or something along those lines. So that rest week is when I allow every part of my body to just fully rest. And it's like kind of like I don't feel any sort of, aches or soreness or anything. And then I get back to it. And then like, so for me, I think because I did not suffer any injuries or anything like that in that time period. So I just assume that um, it helped. That's my assumption. Like it helped. I don't have any like real scientific or research based way to back that up, but based on my experience, I'll say that it helped me.
Mhm. So from that now, I now want to ask, what did you do within those rest days or the week? What did you do within that time? I don't know if you got that.
Honestly, yeah, I got that. Honestly, I think the only thing noteworthy that I did was make sure I I hit my nutritional goals for the time. So it's like outside of that, there is not really okay. So actually, now I take that back. So what I'm saying is how I started. But later on, when I started to
Yeah.
do cardio, when I started to do cardio, it was the cardio that I used to do in those rest times. So I'll
Okay.
just go running, and that's the only thing I'll do. I'll just go running.
Okay. Cardio. Noted. So how did this feel? Like starting out from within that time, your nutrition goes, then now you start involving cardio. How did it feel? What difference did it really make for you?
The like I would say it felt good. I felt like my body recovered well. Um, it gave me like I was able to feel normal again, like
Mm,
because when you enter the gym life, you just you just learn to accept how your body feels after the workouts. Like it's something
yeah.
that you accept. So those rest week just made me feel normal again because now by the end of the week, my entire body doesn't have that after workout feeling. So it was just normal.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, now leading to that, you keyed us into the next aspect, the next pillar very perfectly when you mentioned nutrition goals. On this one, I'm big on because it's one of the most, let's say, misunderstood aspects to me from what I've seen so far over my experience. And what does nutrition mean to you basically? We're entering the third pillar, which is dieting in our DRE, what would you call it, the DRE formula, or how, what, I'm looking for a sweet tagline to have it. The DRE what?
The- Mm.
Uh, the
That's something that
DRE
we have to
what? I
think
want
about. That's something that we think
to think
about.
about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. If you
And
come up with
sounds
anything, don't let
good.
me know.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's
So
nutrition to you? Like dieting, what's it all to you?
I would say nutrition is the backbone of fitness.
Hmm.
So it's without nutrition, just I think everything else you do it's not really as impactful. Without nutrition, all the exercise you do would not be as impactful. Without nutrition, your recovery would not be as, you know, as impactful as well on your body and whatever goals that you're trying to achieve. So your I would say your nutrition, your that is like the backbone of your fitness. If your nutrition is good, almost everything else will follow suit.
Okay. Nutrition is key. Something just happened. I hope it's fine. I hope it doesn't affect. Oh, but that was a recording. I just hope it was recording.
Yeah,
Anyways, I've checked it out. So moving on, I have good hopes that it's recording. So on to the next this thing, still within that whole nutrition. What's nutrition been like to you in terms of your own fitness journey? What sort of techniques have you utilized in your dieting? What have you experimented? What have you tried? What have you used? How have you gone about it?
For me, I simplified it into um your 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 intake dictates your output. That's kind of how I look at it. So because I just used that principle and I just kind of kept it as simple as that. So it's like, okay, I knew that protein is one of the most important things when it comes to building muscle mass. So the higher protein you put into your body, the more likely you are going to grow muscle. And then you now have all the other subsequent things that are also good for you. There's healthy fats. There's a good amount of carbohydrate that you also need because it helps fuel you and keeps you energetic to be able to do the exercises that you do and the workouts that you do. So I just use that as a baseline as like, okay, I just need more of the right things. So protein, healthy fats, and carbs. I didn't really look at it in terms of calories. I'll be very honest. I did not really focus more on the calories. It's just like, okay, protein, carbs, healthy fats are cool. So then I just started to, and because, like I said, skinny, I want to get bigger, I want to build more muscle. So I just I just try to say, okay, how can I get more of that in my body daily? And that's how, and I created like a structure for it for like the whole day. So that's why I used to eat like four, sometimes five times a day, but like generally consistently four
Mhm.
times a day. I would have 4 meals every single day. And then in those 4 meals, like I said, I didn't really measure calories per se. I'll just like look at the protein that I'm having. I'll look at the carbs that I'm having. I look at the fats that I'm having. And then so that is how I went about it. I just kind of just, like I said, I simplified it. You need more of the right things. And I just 4 meals since I used to generally most of my life, I had 3 meals a day and I still stayed skinny. So it's just like I add more proteins to your meals and add an extra meal to your day. And and it helped me. I could see the results. I saw results from doing that.
Okay. You dropped a lot of stuff that we can basically pick from, and I like that. So let me just start with this. Since you heard about the whole term of calories from our discussion, what difference did it really make in terms of your thinking of the whole nutrition now?
Well, you also told me to go and look at the TDEE, and I looked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because so it now changed my perspective because one of the main reasons I didn't care about the talk of calories was because
Yeah.
most of the videos that I watched were kind of Western based videos. And in the Western world, the problem that most people are suffering from is obesity. And then so most of the videos are geared towards people losing weight, not that much about them gaining weight. And then so because of those videos had so much about losing weight, less calories, less calories, less calories. So I think my brain kind of did like an association of calories and fat people.
Yeah.
And so because I wasn't that, I kind of like I don't really care about the calories in that sense because I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm trying to gain weight.
Wait. Yeah, like
Yeah,
maybe you don't have anything to lose.
yeah, exactly.
And that it
So,
then
yeah, so my mind did not really think in terms of calories, but when I looked into that TDEE and in context of what you told me, I kind of like understand like, oh, okay. So that's which for those who don't know is total daily energy expenditure. That's TDEE.
yeah.
And so it now showed me about how like there is in terms of calories, there is what your body needs to maintain its weight. And then there's certain levels that you can now, from that, you can kind of like measure how many calories will make you gain weight and how many calories will make you lose weight. And then you can now gear that into how you want to gain weight and how you want to lose weight. And it's interesting because with okay, can you see me? Because I don't. It's
Yeah, I
been
can see you.
I
Yeah, I
don't.
can
There's
see
this
you.
loading screen on my. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah, it's a whiteboard. I put up something. I can see
Ah,
you.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
fair enough. All right, cool. So basically, what I was saying is when it comes to like that TDE, it made me understand like, oh, okay, so there's different ways to look at calories. It's not just about losing weight, but it's about maintaining your body. It's about how to lose and also how to gain. And there's
Yeah.
different ways of losing and different ways of gaining. So the calorie kind of discussion has kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of expanded my thinking with regards to how calories
Now,
relates to
one.
fitness.
Okay. So let's quickly talk on that before we proceed. So we have the TDE. I just spawned up the whiteboard just so that I can write better. Let's have this.
Okay.
Sorry, this is down. I was trying to use my other device. See, I really need to get an iPad. Or I want to get an iPad. So okay, yeah, let's see. We have TDEE. I should be able to, yeah. Okay. This is not writing here. I thought it to write on. Right, right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we have TDE, yeah?
Uh,
Can you see that?
I can kind of see like a writing at the edge of my screen. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's not working on this side. I'm writing my phone,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to see if I can explain it on this side, or whether I'll have
Okay.
to share the whiteboard here. Let me share the whiteboard on this end.
Okay.
Or let me see that. We share Zoom whiteboards. Okay. So you can see it now, yeah?
Uh,
You can see the whiteboard, yeah?
yeah, it's just plain white.
Just plain white. Perfect.
Mm.
Just the way we like them. White. The whiteboard. So let's see. Why is it not writing?
Okay.
All right.
I have to inform you that I don't have too many minutes more before this is close
Yes, yes, yes.
and there's things. I don't want to rush.
Okay.
But I don't really have much time left. I do have a
You,
few
you,
minutes, but not that much.
no problem. So in that case, let's just go into the just a brief stuff on that. So as I mentioned earlier, and that's why I told you to go into it first. TDE is basically the beginning of where the whole calories journey starts, and it's basically one thing that can determine a whole lot for anyone basically calculating their journey in terms of their goals. So whether he's losing weight, whether he's gaining weight, as I said the other time, it's all math. It's all math. And TDE first helps you know what your body does on its own. So without you doing any activity first, what your body tends to burn on a normal, then it also adds in your own personal daily expenditure, energy expenditure in terms of, oh, you have a sedentary lifestyle. Let's say an office person, you sit, or a remote worker, you're mostly on your desk. So it factors all that in, or you're a much active person, let's say a laborer or someone that moves around a lot, an architect, an engineer, stuff like that. So it puts all those in place. And from there, it helps you determine, oh, this is what my body actually expends. And from there, you can now get to know, based on your goals, this will now be the number of calories you are going to be eating and number of calories you are going to be burning, like in terms of extra where necessary. So, but the whole idea, once you get going in that, it now leads you to a concept that you get to learn, which is basically calorie deficit and calorie surplus. I don't know if you remember when I mentioned it earlier in the call. Yeah. So if you want to get big, calorie surplus. If you want to get small or leaner, calorie deficit. And the whole idea is this: calorie surplus, you are consuming more food than you burn. Calorie deficit, you are burning more food, you are burning more energy or more food. Because I mean, food is still energy, it converts to energy in your body. So you are burning more food than you taking. So once you understand that concept, you see that you can actually gain weight or lose weight whenever you want. It also applies to adding up muscle and all that. And it's something funny. And I remember a statement I made to you while we are discussing this initially, where I told you, if I'm gaining weight now, I know that I am gaining weight because of what I'm doing. If I'm losing weight, I actually know that. So there's no more guesswork, or when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm eating much, but I can't seem to get big." And I look at them like, like how I told you, I'm on both. I've been on both sides, so I know, I know truly that if someone is eating much, you will get big. If you're eating more than you burn, you will get big. But at the end of the day, you might be eating much, maybe it's not frequent, or it's not sufficient enough in terms of what you're burning. So at the end of the day, it just counterbalances and you don't hit your goals. So knowing that idea, basically, I would say is the basics to the whole dieting. From there, you now get to see, oh, what foods do I like? Or then if you are going for sustainability, or all those kind of factors all together. So it's something quite beautiful. I mean, we could go on this, but I'll just cut this
Um,
short in terms of this line of just know once you understand that TDE, you can now you'll get to see things like BMR. I'll send you a link later on where you can just calculate it on your own. Then bless you.
okay.
Then you now have that whole calorie surplus and calorie deficit in your own goals. And from there, you now know that, like you said, you wanted to bulk up, yeah. So you know you'll be going more on the calorie surplus. And for someone that's losing weight, like how I'm currently doing a weight loss challenge on this thing. And so far I've lost almost 10 kg. I think I'm supposed to check today because yesterday was the last day of the challenge. So let's see if we hit my 10 kg goal at least. Well, my goal was actually 21 kg, but it's something that was taking it the way I would take anyone that I teach, basically. So I'm not doing anything that will harm you in terms of, you know, how someone will lose weight and all of a sudden they become worse than in terms of fat back,
Yeah.
despite being that skinny, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't know what's happening or this," but it's very clear when you go to through stringent measures that you don't actually like or your body doesn't actually like, you end up rebounding worse, and it's always annoying for you yourself because it pains you, especially remembering where you've been and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, dieting is quite interesting. Like I love that concept so much beyond just the overthinking and more like the application, making it simple. So yeah, I guess we'll be rounding off there because we've touched the three pillars basically. And I will not say this. Is there anything you'd like to say to the community in terms of fitness, anything health, whatever words of wisdom you have while we wind down that you feel we've not covered throughout our whole conversation?
Um, Never say you can't do unless you try, because, and it also connects to what I mentioned earlier about making excuses. It's like, you see, I had to try, and then because it's not like I went in there knowing that I would get results. No, but I had to try first, and then I was able to see results. And then I was able to kind of like be able to create my own system, my own kind of structure, even though you said I don't really have a structure, which I can't really argue, but I was able to kind of create something, even if it's not the best thing, but it did work for me. I did was able to like, so for just to give people context, I am around 180 centimeters, so 1.80 meters, which translates to around 5'11" in height, and I'm just 60 kg. Most people my height are supposed to be heavier than that, so you can imagine how skinny I was. But then I was able to get as high as 73 kg. So I was able to add 13 kg. I was able to, even because you have seen the pictures and of how like
Yeah.
of the size that I was able to attain. So just never, no matter, even if you are, like you said, you're in an office space or whatever, don't try it first. Try it, try your best to be consistent for like give yourself maybe 3 months because typically results typically show in that time period. So give yourself 3 months and try whatever it is you're going to try. And if it doesn't work, then yeah, you can say now you've tried it to be able to say, yes, that doesn't work. But don't just automatically say, I'm too this, I'm too that, this. Nah, like try to avoid that and try first before you can dismiss or disregard something.
All right. And if I have to tweak that a bit, there's something I've been doing lately where I basically say that's the T word. I call that the T word. Now I just say instead of trying, just do it. As Nike will tell us. Just do that thing. Instead of saying you're trying to lift weights, just lift the weight. Instead of saying you're trying to diet, just eat the food or don't eat the food or calculate. And it makes life quite fit. So winding down, where can, if anyone wants to reach out to you to just hear more about you or to ask you some questions, anyway, where can they find you on the social media space if you like?
I guess primarily would be my Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah, and it's Abdallah, so Abdallah. Is it on
Underscore,
that kind of slash at the bottom? I think it's underscore.
Yeah.
Underscore GA. Yeah, underscore GADA. Yeah. And so if you go through, especially if you scroll all the way down, you will see I did post some of my gains pictures, and that way you'll be able to see the difference between like some of the gains I was able to make and some of the things that how I was before and kind of how I lost. Because even now you can see that I've kind of lost some of it. So you'll be able to see the difference with your own eyes, and it won't be like a story that someone's telling you from heaven. So yeah.
That's nice, man. Well, I will definitely link that in the description so anyone can check it out. Just tell him you're from Gistenics and he'll have a good place in his heart to reply you. So yeah, without further ado, I really appreciate coming on here. Hope you at least got something that you can apply in your own fitness journey. I mean, that's just the whole idea. Yeah, man. All right.
I know that I've benefited from this conversation, and I'm honored that you invited me here. And I hope that my this discussion has helped, encourage someone and made someone believe, just as how someone made me believe.
Yeah, that's true. That's for sure. I like how you ended that. That's a very cool one. So guys, if you got some value from your like the video, comment the thing that you learned. Comment all those keywords that he just dropped over time. Also comment on our DRE principle on thinking of what to add to it and spice it up. So without further ado, that will be the end of today's session. See you next time.
All right.